Hello, you're watching UzReport World News with me, Davron Jumayev. The issue of poverty reduction and assistance to children with disabilities in Uzbekistan had been in the focus at the 11th plenary session of the Senate of the Oliy Majlis on Wednesday. Exactly these issues were announced by President Shavkat Mirziyoyev as crucial and relevant during his address to the parliament.
The program of the National Sustainable Development Goals for the period up to 2030 pays great attention to poverty reduction. In order to control their number and make proposals, a parliamentary commission was established.
We study the situation in the regions and districts, send information and suggestions to the Commission. Reducing poverty means providing jobs for residents. More than 1,000 centers for training the profession have been created in the mahallas. Each student is given 1 million soums. If after studying a person needs to buy any production resources to start working, then subsidies are provided in the amount of 7 million soums.
Erkin Gadayev also noted that all public procurement will be held openly under the control of the public and the parliament. Moreover, for encouraging youth education, grants at public universities will be increased by 25%.
I want to draw your attention to one thing. Youth is a time when you need to learn and develop. Recently, a youth forum was held where it was said that $100 million will be allocated for young entrepreneurs, and 1 trillion soums and $50 million will be allocated for landing their business ideas and training in the profession.
Another item on agenda of the meeting was the law on urban development code, as the construction sector in the country at present has problems accumulated over the years. This direction demands urgent reforms.
The identified problems prevent the creation of favorable conditions for attracting investment in construction. Therefore, the law was drawn up. The document also establishes new standards for the implementation of regulatory and technical documents and their accounting.
The senators noted that the establishment of these norms would create a new legal framework for removing bureaucratic barriers in this area, developing and approving general plans for settlements and defining city boundaries.
According to Article 47, in areas that are allocated for individual housing, the construction of apartments and buildings with more than 2 floors is prohibited. This will help prevent illegal activity and save costs for demolition.
Uzbekistan has moved down 3 positions in the Henley Passport Index. The country currently ranks 86 according to the organization's website.
The Uzbek passport allows its holders to visit 57 countries without a visa. The country shares its position with Ivory Coast and Gabon. Kazakhstan scored the best result among Central Asian countries. Placed 70th, citizens of Kazakhstan can visit 75 countries. Kyrgyzstan placed 80th. Tajikistan 82nd, and Turkmenistan 90th. Japan secured the top spot as in previous years, with access to 191 countries and territories. Afghanistan is at the bottom of the table. The Afghan passport allows its residents to visit 26 countries of the world without a visa.
Uzbekistan is expected to enjoy a faster recovery in economic growth than other states in Central Asia, according to the World Bank's latest Global Economic Prospects report. The country can expect 2020 growth to come in at 0.6%, it said. That is 0.9 percentage points less than the World Bank anticipated in the June 2020 edition of Global Economic Prospects. Uzbek growth in 2021 is expected to be 4.3%. The prediction in June 2020 was 2.3% higher. The World Bank also forecast the Central Asian region to recover 3% in 2021, supported by a modest rise in commodity prices and foreign direct investment as the sub-region deepens its integration with China's Belt and Road Initiative. Export Promotion Agency under the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade of Uzbekistan will now provide financial assistance to Uzbek suppliers and exporting enterprises. The agency is intending to cover shipment costs to foreign trading houses and showrooms through the diplomatic mission authorities as well as the trademark registration fees.
To receive the compensation, the exporters must fill the application and provide necessary documents. Following the new regulation, it is no longer necessary to disclose information on the exporter's tax, creditor, and receivable debts. The application is reviewed within 7 days. The agency may refuse compensation for incomplete documents, for non-compliance of the requested financial assistance with the approved procedures and requirements, and for the submission of distorted information in documents.
The UAE company Masdar has started construction works at the first industrial-scale 100-megawatt photovoltaic power plant based on renewable energy sources in Uzbekistan. As part of its plans to bring renewable energy capacity to 5 gigawatts by 2030, Uzbekistan inked its first agreement with Masdar in November 2019. Country's first PPP project is expected to be completed in October this year. Uzbekistan's Ministry of Innovation Development and Ministry of Health started third-phase clinical trials of the coronavirus vaccine developed by China's Zhifei Longcom Biopharmaceutical in early December. 1,099 people were participating in the trials as of January 4. Another 72 people joined the vaccination trials on January 4 alone. The ministry said that not all the volunteers would be given the vaccine, as some would receive a placebo. 2 settlements with a complex of tombs and rock paintings on the slopes of Chatkal and Kurama ranges were discovered by the Uzbek Academy of Sciences. The sites were inhabited starting from the Middle Paleolithic to the end of the Late Paleolithic.
The only unique specimen which intrigues the whole world is the extraordinary stone amulet. The identified rock paintings and mounds show that these areas were actively used in different historical periods. One of the sites found is located not far from the settlement and belongs to the Late Paleolithic. The second dates from the end of the Late Stone Age Paleolithic. Both are in the upper reaches of the Yangabat and Karabakh rivers of the Angren Oasis.
The Ministry of Innovative Development had brought together Uzbekistan's ambassadors from 20 countries to discuss the latest achievements in innovation sector in Uzbekistan. The meeting saw the industry experts who shared their international experience in innovation and discussed measures to develop human capital to ensure long-term innovative progress.
The parties noted the necessity to integrate knowledge, science, and technology. The meeting provided information on joint work with foreign countries. The Chinese vaccine is being tested as a result of an agreement with the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Trials are going well, and there has been a single side effect. Last year, 120 young scientists from our country completed an internship in Belarus. They are currently working with Belarusian scientists on projects. A new education policy was launched in India last July. That is why we must continue to cooperate. The director of the Indian company, Rutermcom, was appointed ambassador of the Ministry of Innovative Development of Uzbekistan in his country. There is also collaboration with 2 companies in the field of innovation in agriculture. But this is not enough. In October 2020, the World Bank's Board of Executive Directors approved financing package of $50 million for the implementation of the Modernizing National Innovation System project in Uzbekistan, as the country aims to join the top 50 countries in the Global Innovation Index by 2030.
Police said 4 people died and over 50 people were arrested after hundreds of President Donald Trump's supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday in a bid to overturn his election defeat. Washington, D.C. Police Chief Robert J. Conte said the arrests related to breaking a 6 p.m. curfew, as well as charges related to carrying unlicensed or prohibited firearms. Conte declined to identify a woman a Capitol police officer shot and killed, but graphic video that Reuters has chosen to blur inside the Capitol showed what appeared to be police attempting to treat her. He added that 3 others died because of medical emergencies and 14 police officers were injured, 2 of whom remain hospitalized. DC Police Chief Robert J. Conte.
The Metropolitan Police Department's Internal Affairs Division is currently investigating this matter as we investigate all officer-involved deaths in the District of Columbia, including ones from other agencies. This is a tragic incident.
2 pipe bombs were also found in the headquarters of the Republican and Democratic National Committees and a cooler with Molotov cocktails from a vehicle close to the grounds. After hours of chaos, police battled to regain control before lawmakers finally returned to Congress. The number of people arrested is expected to grow, but early numbers pale in comparison to the more than 300 arrests made following the June 1st protests last year over the police killing of black man George Floyd. The Capitol Police are facing questions about why they didn't do more to secure the Capitol and let many of the rioters later exit the building without arrests. DC Mayor Muriel Bowser said police intend to ask the public for help in identifying rioters, many of whom posed for photos inside the Capitol. Just days before he's due to leave office, US President Donald Trump is cementing his tough approach to China. Reuters sources say Trump is considering adding tech giants Alibaba and Tencent to a blacklist of companies alleged to be owned or controlled by the Chinese military. If that goes ahead, US investors would be blocked from owning shares in two of China's most valuable companies. Alibaba and Tencent did not immediately respond to Reuters' requests for comment. The Trump administration has been ramping up efforts to deprive Chinese companies of US investment and goods. China's biggest chip maker, SMIC, and top telecom giant, Huawei, are already subject to a US trade blacklist, meaning that US companies have to have a license to export products to them. On Tuesday, Trump signed an executive order barring transactions with 8 Chinese software applications, including Ant Group's Alipay. It will be up to US President-elect Joe Biden to decide whether he enforces these policies. Beijing has accused the US of what it called an unreasonable suppression of Chinese companies.
Investors on Wall Street did not panic Wednesday, even as protesters backing President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol and put the building into lockdown. Stocks pared some of their earlier gains, yet the Dow and S&P 500 still soared to all-time highs. Spartan Capital Securities chief market economist Peter Cardillo said Wall Street looked past the chaos in Washington toward Georgia, betting that a Democratic sweep in that state, which delivers Democratic control to the Senate, will lead to more fiscal stimulus and infrastructure spending.
I'm just mesmerized at this. I can't believe what's going on in the marketplace after what's taking place in Washington. I mean, here we have the Capitol under siege. We have the President of the United States who delivered to his supporters a very defiant speech saying that he would never concede to an illegitimate president, and yet the market is ignoring this. I want to think that maybe the market investors think, well, this is going to blow over by the end of the day, and that President-elect Biden will be certified by Congress, and we look forward to more stimulants and perhaps a big infrastructure deal.
A Democrat-controlled Senate typically ushers in increased fiscal spending, but raises the chances of tax hikes and tighter regulation. And so, tech stocks fell as investors flocked to economically sensitive sectors such as financials, materials, and energy stocks. That drove the Dow up nearly 1.5% and the S&P 500 up more than 0.5%. But the Nasdaq fell almost 0.2%. The potential for Democratic control of Congress also sent the yield on the benchmark 10-year Treasury above 1%, a level not seen since March.
Amazon on Wednesday said it would spend $2 billion to create affordable homes in areas where 3 of its major U.S. employment hubs are located. The goal? At least 20,000 affordable housing units in the Puget Sound area of Washington state, Arlington, Virginia, where there are plans for another Amazon hub, and Nashville, Tennessee. Amazon.com said a large chunk of its investment will be through low-cost loans to preserve or build housing for moderate to low-income families. Amazon and other tech companies have faced criticism in recent years for driving up home prices in places like San Francisco due to an influx of tech workers. Facebook and Google have invested in affordable housing too, attempting to ease the strain on neighborhoods flooded with employees.
These were the top stories for today. Stay safe and goodbye.